Butterfly Ranunculus is back in the shop this week, and I thought since I wrote about it in my newsletter, I would show you some examples of the butterfly ranunculus that I'm using this week. My name is Ellen Frost. I've been a florist for over 15 years. I write a weekly newsletter all about my flower adventures, and I'm building a community of flower nerds online. Today I'm going to show you the butterfly ranunculus that we have in the shop. So butterfly ranunculus, I always have to compare it with regular ranunculus. And when I say regular ranunculus, that's really the ranunculus that we're used to using and probably what a lot of you are used to using. This is the very fluffy, very full petaled ranunculus that you see in a lot of designs and even more and more just out in the world, like at a grocery store. So regular ranunculus, or maybe standard ranunculus. I know I saw somebody call it stuffed ranunculus, and the term stuffed is fitting because you can see that it just is like a fluffy. These flowers have sometimes over 130 petals on them. So this is what I would say regular ranunculus. When I'm talking about butterfly ranunculus, it's hard not to compare it because in some ways they feel like a completely different plant to me. So butterfly ranunculus is a different variety of ranunculus. It actually to me looks, all ranunculus is in the buttercup family, and these butterfly ranunculus actually look more like a standard buttercup to me. They've got almost a single layer of petals, maybe 2 layers of petals, but a very open face. You can see that the petals also are kind of like shimmery or shiny, and as they age they actually become more shimmery. This is a result of the plant having like a natural waxy film that covers the petals, which leads to just like a really interesting, cool color. And that happens on all of the colors. If you take a look at the orange, this is Minoan, or Minoan, I think you call it. You can see that these petals are just shiny, and they are going to become more shiny as they age. So here is butterfly ranunculus, and just side by side with a regular ranunculus. You can see that the shapes are very different and the buds are very different. So these buds are more sort of pointy, less round than a regular ranunculus. And what's great about butterfly ranunculus is that all of these side shoots, all of these little buds will continue to open. So on regular ranunculus, we actually did a test in the last couple of weeks. We cut off all the side shoots on our regular ranunculus and we put them in a vase. And we wanted to see if they would open. And we left them for almost 2 weeks, and only 1 or 2 of a whole vase opened. So these little side shoots for us did not open. But with butterfly ranunculus, you are going to have all of these side shoots open. So when a farmer harvests, they usually harvest with 1 open bloom, and then the rest of the buds sort of colored up or puffed up. So once this original bloom dies, you can always just trim it off and then let these side shoots bloom. You can also just cut the side shoots off and use those as separate plant material in your arrangements because they will continue to open. Butterfly ranunculus has a very long vase life. These last in the vase sometimes 2 to 3 weeks, so a really long vase life. They act differently in arrangements than regular ranunculus does because you can see that they're much more airy, more whimsical. They have a lot more movement. So in an arrangement, you can see that they just have a lot more movement to them. So for me, I really think that they work better in larger arrangements, or at least where the blooms can really be popped out and allowed to sort of have that airy feeling. When you're using regular ranunculus, they have sort of a heavier feel. They take up more room in the vase. They have more of a presence. To me, they actually feel more like a focal flower, where even though the butterfly ranunculus is a premium bloom and we are paying premium prices for it, it acts to me more like a filler flower. It doesn't take up as much space. And because sometimes the face, you can even see this one here, the stem is sort of curved and the head is kind of heavy and hanging down. I think that also adds a little bit to my feeling like it doesn't act like a focal flower in an arrangement. But they're very beautiful. This one is called Ariadne. All of the butterfly ranunculus that is available on the market today is named after Greek goddesses. So that's kind of interesting. And when we first started using these, when they came on the market maybe 7 or 8 years ago, there were only a couple available. And this orange was one of the ones that was available, this Minoan or Minoan. But you know what? The orange, I love orange. Orange is like my favorite color, but this one to me was always a little bit hard to use in designs, especially in the spring, because it gives off more of a fall feel. But that was what was available in the beginning. So we used them, we liked them, but as the years have gone on, there have been lots more color varieties available. So now there's maybe, I don't know, a dozen or so available, and they range from like creamy white to shades of pink, shades of yellow, orange, even like lavender, coral, really pretty. And there's more and more coming on every year. The last sort of interesting thing I'll tell you about butterfly ranunculus is that they are actually reproduced by tissue culture. So tissue culture is more complicated than I can totally understand, but what that means is that a new plant that comes on the market, in order to bring it to market, you have to try it out over many years. So you have to grow it out, test it, tweak it. It can take years, sometimes a decade, for a new flower to come to market. But using a tissue culture, you can do those tweaks and those many generations of growing just over a few short months, maybe in less than a year. You're cutting a piece of the tissue off of the plant and then growing it in a really sterile medium. It's really interesting, and tissue culture is being used throughout the cut flower world to bring new plants to market much faster. There's a tissue culture status that we'll have in the summertime that is really pretty. The colors are really nice, and it is just a more robust, interesting plant. So tissue culture is something to look out for as you see new products come on the market. Butterfly ranunculus is still pretty new in the marketplace for cut flower. It's only been on the market for maybe 7 or 8 years. So it may be possible that you haven't seen one in person. If you have a chance, if you have a grower near you that's growing them, or if you see them at the farmer's market, definitely pick some up and give them a try. They're a great spring flower and really fun to use in design.